front, right? The purple one in the front, that's your frontal bone, makes up your forehead. Within the frontal bone, you have the supraorbital ridge, right? Those hard eyebrow protuberances. And then you have these little holes, which are the supraorbital foramen, or supraorbital foramina for plural. On the top, right, these two, those are the parietal bones. The parietal bones make that skull cap of the head. They're divided into two bones by this suture. That's the sagittal suture, sagittal because it's right and left, so the sagittal suture. You saw this suture right here, that is the coronal suture, so it fits like a crown, coronal suture. So you got frontal bone, coronal suture, parietal bones. Then in the back, you have your occipital bone or occiput. So the first thing that you'll see is this protuberance right here, so it sticks out. That's the external occipital protuberance. You're gonna have like other processes here, but we're gonna focus on the external occipital protuberance. You have the foramen magnum, and lateral to the foramen magnum, you have the occipital condyles, which sit on that C1 lateral mass vertebrae. The next bone that we have here is the temporal bone. So the temporal bone or temporal bone, it depends on who you ask, the pronunciation, right? You have first here, you have the zygomatic arch, or more specifically, the zygomatic process of the temporal bone. So it together, along with the zygomatic bone, they make the zygomatic arch. Behind that zygomatic arch, you have this big hole right here. That's the external auditory meatus. Behind that, you have this mass, this little mass in the back. That's the mastoid process. And then the pointy one sticking out, that's the styloid process. So you got 4 processes within the temporal bone that we could test you on. You have an internal auditory meatus, but it's on the inside. So we're just gonna test on zygomatic arch, external auditory meatus, mastoid, and styloid process. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got our cranial bones. Other cranial bones that we have is the center of the cranial cavity right here. So you'll notice it looks like a bat or a moth. Some people say it looks like a ghost. So that's the sphenoid. The sphenoid is gonna have this dip in the middle. It looks like a chair, like a saddle. So that's called the sella turcica or the hypophyseal fossa. You have the greater wing on the side, then the lesser wing's actually on the top, and it has the optical canal right here. So the